The average golfer never breaks 90, and less than 1% of golfers reach scratch. So what's holding them back? Today, we dive into the nitty-gritty of what holds everyday golfers back. I'm Jacob, and my brother Jojo and I are on a head-to-head race to become scratch golfers. Today, we had a joint lesson with a pro, and in this video, you'll see the pro break down our swings, point out common mistakes most weekend golfers make, and he'll give you tips and tricks to improve your swing. Finally, he'll make his prediction on who's going to reach scratch first. Let's get into it. Oh, and if you could subscribe, that would make my day.
So you see your hands when that happens, right? Normally, right? Well, obviously, first of all, you're hitting the club there, okay? So that's the worst shot we can hit in golf, right? Because there's no control whatsoever. So if that happens on the course, you have to think fast and find a solution, because once you start hitting shanks, then you're top of all thinking, oh, I'm going to hit a shank now. So just try and leave a little bit more distance from the ball, and visually, I just want you to feel as you're going to hit the ball with that. Okay, what you're probably going to do then is, instead of bringing your hands that way, right, they're going to come more towards the body, right, and then you're probably going to start hitting the center. But you try and have to, I mean, sometimes, I mean, they say that a shank is what, half an inch of the perfect shot, right? That's what they say, right? So we're very close of hitting the middle of the club, which just for some reason today, probably because you've been on the car 3 hours, and if this happens on the course, you have to find a solution. So try and think, boom, I want to try and hit it from the toe this time, not from the hill, okay?
I want to hit that toe, just rotate my hands more as well?
Yeah, you kind of like, instead of, because you're doing that backswing a little bit too short, then you're trying to create power from here, and then your hands are going that way, okay? So the club's definitely coming from the inside, I can tell you that for a fact. Okay, so you've definitely changed that, but because your backswing is so short, you're trying to create power, and then it's getting stuck there. Yeah, good. So sometimes you can just you can put a ball here in front or something, right? So you have something to see, and we don't want to hit that one. Yeah. We just want to hit. So we shouldn't hit it. Yeah, exactly.
I rarely have, I have a lot of bad swings and shots, but I wouldn't say a shank's ever really been one of them. But...
Welcome to my world. There we go. Oh, nice. God, okay, so I've just had something there for you. I've not done anything else, but then because you see that ball and you think, gosh, I need to bring those hands closer to my body, don't leave them there, and then automatically you just start changing things. So do that for a couple of times until you recover that confidence on the shot, and then hopefully we'll start hitting this straight.
If I'm out on the course and I've got that, what can I do? Just use a piece of grass to put it there?
I mean, if you're playing a tournament, you wouldn't be able to do that, but if you're playing with your friends or whatever, then yes, but I would definitely try. So obviously when we hit the shank is because we hit it in the hosel, right? So give yourself a little more room and try and bring your hands more towards the body, and try and hit it on the toe, kind of thing. That's an easy solution. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the times will. Or if you're on the course, you're teeing off with on a par 3, just put the ball as near as you can to the tee box. Exactly, and then it's you don't want to hit that because you're gonna smash it, right? Smash the club. Yeah, exactly, and then you get a feeling and trying to. Normally and that's the thing. Once you start hitting shanks, your confidence drops, and as I said, you're on top of the ball thinking, oh, I'm gonna hit another shank, and then your body movement is not going to be the right one, and you're definitely going to hit it. So you have to try and recover and get that confidence up again, and trust your swing. I mean, and again, it's happened to PGA Tour players where they hit a shank, and again, it's so close to be a perfect shot, but it's not, obviously. Okay. So I'm going to remove that ball now. Let's put a nice piece of grass. So obviously last time we were working on that bucket exercise. So I would say that's made a big difference. And we saw some of the comments asking why we're not working on that left wrist instead right?
Yeah.
So obviously you can, and as we spoke about it, you can have that left wrist aiming down, and that's going to make the club face closed. But your problem wasn't the club face itself. Your problem was where the club was coming from, right? So we've been working on this, and it's make a big change. I can see the club face on the back swing now is perfect. It's parallel to your spine angle on the back on the first takeaway. So, and we're not seeing any slices, right? Have you been hitting any slices?
No.
Okay.
The only problem is sometimes it comes out right.
A little bit too far right.
Yeah,
now.
but I
Okay.
don't know if that's an issue with where I'm aiming. I'm not aiming
Could be
correctly,
as
or
well.
it's just coming out.
Yeah.
Right.
So you see, like, when you practice, do you put any aligning sticks on the ground?
If I do put aligning sticks, at the moment what I'm doing is I'm putting it here to
So-
focus on the
Okay.
coming down.
Okay.
like.
Okay. So that's one of the most common mistakes, like amateurs do when they go on the range, right? We get a bucket of balls and just start whacking them out, you know, without even aiming or, you know, taking in that process of pre-shot routine as you were gonna do on the course. So sometimes I would definitely recommend, obviously, if you're working on technique as we've been doing, having that aligning stick on the back is good for you to have it as a visual, but obviously also try and practice. Let's say if you get 60 balls out, at least 20 balls as if you were on the course. So that's for both of you, really. You know, if you were on the course, so try and take a routine, you know, aim, set up, you know, do all the practice swing, everything as you were on the course. So that gets you like in playing mode, right? That's definitely a mistake that most people do, and that's why they go on the course, like, you know, but it's going left, it's going right, because they don't practice where they aim, and that's number one mistake. Then number two, I would definitely tell you to try and hit, you know, like the rhythm of every ball we hit. You know, we should hit a ball per minute max. Okay. You know, so then your body is nice and relaxed. Analyze the shot. Is it good? Is it bad? Okay, practice, drill. You know, don't hit.
That's one flaw that I do have, is that when I'm on the range, the more frustrated I get, the faster I hit shots.
Yeah, and
so it goes from like 1 per minute to 1 per 20 seconds.
That's the most common mistake. You should, you know, film yourself, you know, analyze, take your time, because it's not the quantity of balls you hit, it's the quality of your training. So 60 balls, if you do it properly, it's generous, but 1 hour hitting balls, like 60 balls, would be perfect training. Yeah. You know, your body is not going to be as tired, you know, the quality of the training will be better. And if you do all these things, then when you go on the course, you're definitely going to improve on the scoring, for sure, 100%, 100%. So what's your bad shot now?
My bad shot is either a massive fin,
okay,
or what I'm hitting a lot of is just out the toe.
Okay. Would you say that's a little bit of like a thin shot, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I get what you say, where you're trying to work on, like, on that one, yeah?
Yeah.
It's probably going a little bit too far on the way back.
Yeah.
And then actually line-wise wouldn't be bad. Probably just a little bit under plane. So makes sense that, you know, you could hit a thin shot, you know. I'll film you from the front now, but I can already tell, you can see your body's like tilting back of the ball.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, let's say a driver swing or driver tilt where you want to hit up, you know, and it makes sense. So if I film you from the front, we'll probably see that you're way behind the ball, and then you throw in the wrist. But actually it's not that bad. Then you kind of recover pretty well through. Okay, it's a good finish that, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, let's hit another one. I'll film you
Probably
from the
why
front.
my driver's going so well as well.
Yeah. Oh, is that it?
Felt terribly. I don't know if I feel like it might have come out a bit healy.
A little bit of overswing there,
Yeah.
really. And then kind of you can see your body staying kind of like behind. It's kind of like you're here, and on the way down, instead of rotating, you're kind of like you trying to rotate, but then at the same time, you're leaning back a little bit. So you could also hit easy chunk shots.
Yeah.
Does that happen? Or?
Yeah.
Behind a little bit too much. We would like to see a little bit more, not over the top feeling, but kind of that movement instead of
Okay.
movement. Does that make sense? So let's try and do a drill, right? So set up to the ball as you're gonna hit the ball. So do your backswing. Okay, from here, yeah, that's what I want you to feel, right? So you're not gonna go so much here, because then the cause of going too much on the way back, it's probably then you're doing this, right? Okay, and then when you do that, right, so that right shoulder is lower than your left, then the club drops in the inside. So do your backswing again. And the feeling is that you want to try and feel that left shoulder is always, as you rotate through the shot, rotate, you want to feel that left shoulder lower than your right. So what happens immediately, the club's way like on a better line, right? So if you see from behind, you like, if you keep your left shoulder lower, the club will come on a better line. In the opposite, if you fall behind, the club, and it makes sense. Boom, you hit it on the toe. Right? So let's try and feel, right? Let's have a couple of practice swings where you do your backswing a little bit shorter, and then you want to try and feel your left shoulder is lower all the way through. Yeah, good. How's the feeling, right? Okay, good, yeah. So you don't be scared if you hit a little bit too much of the ground to start, but that's kind of the feeling. Okay, so do that again. Before you hit a ball, I'll film it and I'll show you so you can see. Okay, so just go up, do your, and then feel your shoulder. Yeah, perfect. Okay, one more. Good, perfect. So if you see, right, obviously it's very drastic change, but you can see the club is on a better line here. Okay, you can see your, you know, it's too much probably. Okay, but if we see back here before, you know, you can see already, you know, that position there. Okay. And we film from the front, there will be a big difference. One more. So do the practice swing again. So I'll show you from here. Okay, and again. So go up, feel your left shoulder. Good, perfect. So you see now, you'll see your head moving way ahead of the ball on when you hit it. So that's the feeling. So with an iron, especially with a 9-iron, we love to see your head like ahead of the ball, not behind. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So let's try and hit a couple of shots like that. So to be honest, I have to say there's some really good things in your swing. You know, I think just understanding how the body should move is definitely going to help you strike the ball better. Okay. Good. And again, bit of a chunk. No problem. It's normal. I said it before. Okay, let's go again. Okay, and again. That's okay. And again. So that will be part number one. Then we'll. Once you hit a couple of shots, I'll get into.
Instantly knew from that first one. Connection felt better. Yeah. And like, I felt like it swung about here. It's quite shot off compared to the other two.
Good, well done. So now, when you get your body, obviously the first two shots were a little bit too much because you were trying to do it, overdoing it, but then suddenly you said, okay, not so much, a little bit less, and then suddenly it was a better impact, okay? So let's hit a couple more. So you say you're playing off, handicap what?
My England golf is 21.5.
Okay, and you think it is?
I probably think it's like 15.
Okay, wow. So your brother's got no chance. Good, and again. So there's no thins anymore, right? So now it's trying to find something in between, like too much and too much. So trying to find the So go into position as you're gonna hit the ball, just to get the feeling. So you go to your backswing. Good. Yes. Okay. So when you're hitting the ball, right? Obviously you won't have that left elbow lower than your right. It's impossible. You're gonna be like more there, but you're in front of the ball. That's the idea. Okay. Nice. Very, very good. I have to say your swing is like, there's some very good things about it. You know, the club is actually not moving in a bad line whatsoever. It's just that when you were laying back, then the club would drop on the inside, and then you would probably use your hands a bit too much. Yes, exactly. It's just exactly. Yeah. So especially with the lower irons, you want to feel like you're compressing more of the ball. So you want to feel like your right ear is, let's say, in front or in line with the ball. Whereas we could see in the video, your head was like left ear, right? And that, I mean, you can still hit it from there, but you probably struggle, for example, on a downhill slope. You probably be hitting behind the ball, thinning the ball, you know, not getting any height. Now, with this idea, is to try and feel your right ear is in front, okay, and not tilting that much. So obviously that's what I would work on your swing for today, really, to try and get a feeling, especially you're going on the course. So I wouldn't be making many dramatic changes to it. Obviously you want to still work on your backswing, which you have been doing. Now I'm trying to, you know, be in a better position here, not so like an overswing.
When I'm like warmed up, I literally need to feel like my swing is like here.
Yeah.
But in reality, when I watch a video, it's like up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I mean, there's a big difference between reality, a feeling, to reality. You know, you might feel it's perfect, and then you see yourself as like. So that's why it's very important to film your strings yourself. Do you film yourself, like your string, to analyze? Okay. Yeah, it's very, very important to check on the points. You want to check when last point before we hit the ball where the club is parallel to the ground. Yeah. That's absolutely dead straight in regards to your feet line as well. So I mean, you're gonna hit a straight ball flight from there. Yeah. Obviously, you know, very nice follow through. You know, there's other things I would work probably in the future, but for now I would definitely keep working on that club there. That's a good position there, and then feeling you don't want to fall back. Yeah. Okay. But you see, keep in mind you don't want to drop the club too much on the inside. So, you know, like sometimes you can also do as a drill on the driving range is trying to hit some fade shots. Okay, yeah. You know, so when you try and hit a fade shot, what you're going to do, but not throwing the club, using the whole of your body. So that's going to get you feeling that the club is a little bit more in play, because sometimes I can see you, it's just dropping on this side. Yeah. So that's the two things I would really work on your swing. But like, pretty good, I'm surprised there. Yeah, like it looks better in person than on camera on YouTube, right? So like, you're doing good work. I mean, and if you put, how many days of practice you go, like?
I practice. I probably hit like 100 balls a day.
Yeah.
I have a net in my garden.
Okay.
So I am just.
No, you've not broken anything yet.
Oh yeah. When I first started with the net, I had like the mad shanks, and I just hit balls off the fence into the neighbour's garden, and just like walk inside for like 10 minutes. Like, who was that?
Yeah. Shit.
Complete opposite direction.
Good if you're sharing a buggy, yeah?
Yeah.
Tough to decide as well, you know?
Really?
Shit, yeah.
What, both terrible? Alan's just seen 3 of our drives, so we just drove 3 each. What's the verdict?
So it is tough to say, you know. It's like really deep in my heart.
He's being nice.
No. But like, I think at the moment today, obviously you're going through some changes. You're going through some changes, Rob. And I will explain why. I think he's got a bigger chance at the moment. I'm sorry. So, but saying that, he has been practicing a little bit more than you, I would say. Right? You're making a big change in your swing at the moment. So this barely could change in a week or 2. But you're pretty much up there. But at the moment, if I have to decide, I'm sorry. But I'm going to have to say it.
So Jojo's on track to beat me on the race to scratch. Let us know what you think in the comments as well. Who do you think is going to win? Obviously, if you've seen more videos than just this one, you might have a bit of a better understanding or view of who's going to get there. But yeah,
I got loads of videos coming up this trip.
Yeah, so
we'll have a good gauge of how far ahead I am.